and also against Mumbai. I mean, they've won only 9, Harsha.
Nine out of 23 is a terrible record.
Yeah.
And I think at the toss they said it's 9-2 in recent times. Even if in Bengaluru they haven't won.
They've lost 7 out of 9 played in Chinnaswamy.
In Chinnaswamy.
Yeah.
But Virat said something interesting. He said there's no home advantage on this ground. The team that plays better wins. There's no home advantage on this ground. I don't know.
There's no home advantage.
My gut feel with RCB is that they've picked marquee players, they've picked box office players, and they haven't worried about. They've looked upon bowlers as pawns sometimes. That the queens and the knights and the bishops and the rooks all bat, and then the pawns bowl. And so they've made 180, 190, 200 and lost. Whereas Sunrisers showed last year, a couple of years ago.
Bowling,
the bowling wins you T20 matches, T20 leagues.
Yeah, I think bowlers are quite sort of they're underestimated, they are undervalued perhaps in this format, but they should probably be valued even more in this format because literally one bad ball could change the game.
Yeah.
And one good ball could change the game.
But they haven't been. I mean, we're year 12 now.
Yeah.
You know, over the years, look at any auction. Auctions have changed over the years. It was different people, picking teams in the first 3-4 years. Then you had more cricket input, you had marketing input, you had all kinds of inputs.
Yeah.
But in all those inputs, I think bowlers are just about getting their recognition. Because look at the two cricketing brains for the team today.
Yeah.
You got Ashish Nehra on one side and you got Zaheer Khan on the other side.
Yeah, old foes, old friends.
Can you think of a time in Indian cricket where somebody would pick bowlers as their heads of coaches or cricket directors and things like that? So I believe now you are looking at the values of players. So if say tomorrow Ashish and Zach are sitting on a auction table, they will probably value bowlers a lot more because you've only had batsmen run cricket in this country.
There's Gary Kirsten and Mahela Jayawardene.
So they'll always be there, but earlier it was only batsmen.
Yeah.
And not just there, look at commentary box. Over the last 2 years, you've had so many bowlers who've come in. Otherwise, you only got a perspective of batting. Whether Sanjay Manjrekar, Sunil Gavaskar, Ravi Shastri, the cricket was only looked from the batting point of view.
Yeah.
Bowlers were considered bahar.
Yeah.
So, ab thode bowler aane lage hain. You getting an idea of how important bowlers are.
Yeah.
So I think there's a transition.
There is, and bowlers are important for your MPL super team as well. So pick them and pick them wisely. How do you do that? Well, you create a super team on MPL. You download the MPL app on mpl.live/superteam. Then, of course, you select a match. There's the one today. And then join the contest and win. Just pick your bowlers carefully. That's the advice we're giving you. All right, what has RCB done? Well, RCB's decided to go with the same 11 as the previous match in which, remember, well, actually, you don't want to change bowlers there because the batsman never gave them anything to defend that time.
It's 4 bowlers and 2 who can bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, Colin de Grandhomme, when the ball is seaming around, he'll bowl at just over medium pace, thereabouts.
Would you have liked to see Saudi in the squad? Yeah, you would have?
The thing is, if you play Southie for Colin de Grandhomme, he's got to bat at 7 there because none of those 8, 9, 10, 11
They're all
are challenging anybody.
Yeah.
Chahal top scored in a T20 game recently.
Yes, he did.
Umesh Yadav can swing the bat. But yeah, so maybe they just thought, look, we need that batting depth. I don't know. I think Mumbai picked a far better side today.
Yeah.
The Mumbai side is now much more balanced than it was in their first game.
Before we go we'll show you Mumbai. I will come back to player and speak about in RCB. But here they've got their 2 changes here. They've got Mayank Markande and Lasith Malinga in. So there's no Rasik Salam.
Yes. And there's no Ben Cutting.
And no Ben Cutting, yes.
So they've actually got bowling now because that day I suspect Rohit Sharma was looking around for a bowler and was searching for someone to put his hand up and say me, but he didn't find him.
Yeah.
And now you've got actually 6 proper bowlers here. So Krunal and Hardik don't have the pressure of bowling 4 each. He can go by instinct. I think Rohit's got wonderful instincts as a leader. And Malinga now, he's 1 of 6.
Yeah.
So Malinga is now no longer the need to be the lead bowler. I think that's moved to Bumrah now.
Yeah.
So Malinga can even bowl in the middle if required.
Yeah, and they, of course, they lost Adam Milne before the season began. By lose him, I don't mean they misplaced him. I mean, they got injured and he had to go back. So they've got Alzari Joseph now. Any thoughts on him as a replacement?
I asked Ian Bishop that. He said that's an interesting choice. Ooh. He hasn't played a lot of T20 cricket.
That's an interesting comment.
No, because he hasn't played a lot of T20 cricket, Alzari Joseph. He's not sort of a regular in T20 cricket. He said he's still finding his way in international cricket. Someone like a Sheldon Cottrell, if you had to look in the West Indies.
Yeah.
For a starter, West Indian who bowls left-handed.
Yeah, that's
How many have you seen?
strange.
Pedro
Collins used to
and
be.
before that?
Yeah.
You can't.
Oh,
I just said, since when have West Indians started bowling left-handed?
Yeah, only Pedro Collins I can think
You
of.
go Bernard Julian in the 70s. Anyway, so
Wow, I can't. Yeah, you're right.
Right.
Wow, that's
They
a long
don't
time.
play
But I
left
want to
hand.
ask you about Ajay. I want to ask you about Navdeep Saini because you saw him the other day. You were very
Good
impressed
bowler.
by his action and the way he was releasing the ball.
Yeah, very impressed. I've seen him in domestic cricket and over the years, but it's almost like he's changed something. The whole angle of his bowling's changed. He looked really good. I mean, that wasn't a wicket for a fast bowler, but he still ran in. And the approach, I mean, maybe it was just 70, so he was approaching it differently. But the whole aggressiveness that you see, because he's a young boy, he's not played for India, he's not used to this stage, and he comes in here and he wants to be aggressive. I think. I feel if it carries on doing what he's doing, in the next 6 months we'll probably be looking at him playing for India.
I was very interested in what you were telling us yesterday about how Bumrah has changed. So if you want to use both your hands and want me to hold this, I can.
Okay. No, see, I always believe, where you bowl from or how you bat, there is a limitation that you come with. And if you see Bumrah in the last 2 years, how do we remember him? When he came in, he was just coming into you, whether length or Yorker all the way. So that angle worked for the Yorker very well and it worked differently for the length ball. Suddenly in the last year or so, I think starting in South Africa, he started moving the ball away in the test matches. So when you try to move the ball away, your length has to change. Your length can't remain the same. So his length has become a different length and the whole angle has changed. And you look at the last 5, 6, 7 games, including the last IPL game, at the death, it's not the same.
Yeah.
That Yorker, the angle has changed. Maybe players have picked him better. With that angle changing, everything changes because then you have your slower one that doesn't work with that kind of ball. So I think he's now a better bowler at the top rather than at the death.
So interesting.
You pick, people who love stats can go into stats, look at the 5 games, 10 games, 5 is, he is doing better at the top than he used to do in the past and he's not doing as well as he used to do in the death. And you will, I think you'll see that in this IPL.
It is my theory as well. You can have your coffee
Thank
back
you,
next
sir.
time. I'll
Yeah,
make
because
one
that
for
was,
you
I thought that was
smells
a
better.
segue, like you were trying to be his butler and that was a segue to go back into the Mangani conversation. But we won't. Sorry.
It is. If you look at the best test match bowlers these days, they're not great T20 bowlers.
Yeah,
and I think that's why what Ajay is saying is that it's very difficult for a bowler.
It's two different
to be a
lengths, two different lines.
To be a 3-format bowler. It's
Yeah.
very difficult for a fast bowler to be a 3-format bowler.
Yeah, so are you saying that his white ball cricket or at least his Yorkers and the blockers, the things and the angle that he needs to do, has sort of, the efficacy of that is reduced after he's become a top-notch test bowler? Because the top-notch test bowler has only been a year and 3-4 months.
He's been a fantastic test match bowler.
I don't think that it's gone away or anything.
Yeah.
It's just that
It's just the
because
efficacy is less,
It's
that's all.
natural. It's whatever you practice. I mean, if you practice this way, then you perfected that, so you can do that. But when you start doing something else, if you say somebody practices say 10x, if you do 8x doing this, then that thing doesn't. The control goes away.
Yeah.
He's missing the Yorkers. He's not hitting the block hole as often as he used to. His angle has changed. He's come closer. So I think when you come closer, what happens is that the slow one that's not as effective as it used to be. Yorker works best when your slow one's also working, or unless you have to have a short ball. You'll see Malinga. What happened to Malinga over the years? Slower one and the Yorker used to work. Then that real Yorker didn't work, even the slower one stopped working.
Yeah.
You'll see Malinga today after a couple of years. I don't think there'll be Yorkers that you're going to be looking at. There'll be only slower ones that come.
Yeah.
So in first couple of games, maybe the batsman won't read, because as sitting here, it's easy to read it.
Yeah.
But as a batsman, you have to react to it as well.
True.
So couple of games, you might get away, but the Yorkers are not going to be the same.
So the interesting thing is, of course, Malinga's pretty much just got off a plane and he was not supposed to play the first 6 games because he had to play a qualifying tournament for Sri Lanka, of course, to qualify and be considered for selection for the World Cup. They've let him go for 2 games, so he's here for just the 2 games, right? And
I think he's not playing all of them, I think.
No, so he's here for just, I think, 2 and then he goes back again.
And then he comes back again, I think.
And then he comes back again.
Because I think the Sri Lankan cricket board said he's better off playing tougher cricket here than playing selection matches in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
I often wonder about selection matches. When you're Lasith Malinga, you've been the number 1 IPL bowler in the history of the IPL, right? Yeah. And he has to go and play a selection tournament to see if he's good enough. I mean, if I was looking after Lasith Malinga, I'd say, are you fit? Is the ball coming out of your hand fine? That's good enough for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's interesting. That's the equivalent. That's the equivalent of in films, like when big actors go and audition for something, right? So
Correct.
You just go, they made me audition for Avengers. I thought you should just given me the part. I didn't get it eventually, but you got it, right? Sometimes
You should have gone and said, "My Avenger,
my Avenger, Snapped my fingers and half the people did not disappear. Well, that was the end of it for me. But today, of course, the interesting thing is what Jasprit Bumrah is, we're talking about him as a test bowler and as a white ball bowler. And they're two different disciplines, and even slight changes are very difficult to then correct and come back. Bangalore actually got a bowler who was his lookalike.
I don't think it's gone bad. I'm just saying his angle has changed.
Yeah, so I'm saying
to
make minor adjustments in the angle take a lot of time.
At the top, he's getting better.
Yeah.
He will get better at the top because of his speed and the length now. But at the end, he'll not be as effective. That's what I mean.
We saw that with Rishabh as well.
We were all agreeing.
No, I
don't. Okay, but what I was leading to was the fact that RCB, of course, and all batting lineups consider him to be a threat because they managed to find a doppelganger for him. Did you see that footage?
Yeah, I saw
They managed to find a lookalike. What is he, Mukesh Kumar or Mahesh Kumar or something? They found a lookalike for him where when I saw it in long shot, I saw it online. I was like, is that Bumrah wearing a red shirt, red and black shirt and bowling?
I saw some of the footage as well. But, I mean, you can run in one way. It's how the ball leaves the hand that matters. And I'd love to know how the ball is leaving the hand.
Couldn't see in the long shot.
You couldn't see it. I mean, the long shot worked perfectly for him.
Yeah.
Because he looked like Bumrah and you didn't know how he was bowling.
Exactly.
So if they just want to check the angle and see if he's coming like this or he's coming like this, it's all okay. But eventually it's not how you run it, it's how it leaves the hand.
Exactly.
So,
but,
and at the pace that he leaves it as well.
Yeah.
And more importantly, I think the brain that he uses.
Yeah.
Because, at the end, it's not just Yorkers or just length. It's what ball you bowl to which batsman, depending on what has happened in the last over and things like that. And I think Bumrah's, probably the finest exponent of that.
Listen, forget about bowling like Bumrah. Just the fact that they found somebody who has an action like him, I think is quite commendable because that's not an easy action to replicate.
He then went and asked for a photograph with Bumrah.
Yeah.
He was so excited, he went and asked for a photograph.
He must have, I'm sure. He must have.
He should travel wherever the Mumbai is playing next game. He goes to the net. He'll, any team would want to have him there.
Yeah.
I think he should just have an agent now and he should just go to each ground just before Mumbai Indian gets there.
Ashish Nehra gave him, I think, his boots or something. He gave him a pair of bowling boots. So I'm sure he's taken his phone number as well. I think we should call him and just represent him.
Did you
send him on a
copy
tour.
actions and all as a kid?
Yeah, of course.
Everybody does.
Everybody
Used
does.
to be Chandrasekhar. The amount of time I've spent trying to practice B.S. Chandrasekhar's bowling action, start like this and go like that and
You won't even, you guys will laugh if I tell you whose bowling action I used to copy.
Ajay Jadeja.
No.
I'm not that old.
Can I tell you? It's embarrassing. Willie Watson. I don't know why.
Willie Watson.
Willie Watson was
New
from
Zealand.
From New Zealand.
Stiff man.
And Willie Watson used to be slightly in the Bob Willis mode. So for me, it was just, I don't know why. Please don't ask me. I was trying to find an action and I had seen Willie Watson. So let me try this. And it was just really
You
weird.
didn't see Michael Holding or Ian Botham.
I mean, sir, ability भी चाहिए होती है. Ability was only Willie
कुछ
Watson
copy
जितना
तो करना
ability. Ability सिर्फ इतना ही था. I tried Kapil Dev also, Imran Khan also, Richard Hadley also.
I can see why you came back to Willie Watson.
Yeah, I just did that. I was like, this seems a little easier.
So
but it was more like Richard Hadley. Then
before I got into Chandrasekhar, I would copy Abid Ali.
Ah, okay.
Because Hyderabad, whatever. We all thought Abid Ali was a fast bowler.
Yeah.
The worst thing I ever did in life was see Abid Ali's YouTube footage.
Oh,
because I thought he was fast.
Yeah. And then you watch it and you go, no,
he wasn't.
Wasn't really. Wasn't really. Well, okay, let's see. Of course, RCB will be chasing today, but we do want to talk about their batting order because there's a lot of talk and speculation always about their batting order. So let's pull up their 11 and I'll get both you gentlemen to comment on where and how you would like to see these people show up.
If I could borrow from sir, box office players, look at that. Except PP at the top, look at the guys. I mean, everybody is a box office player. Who's going to hold that inning together?
Yeah.
That's the thing. So I think Virat Kohli is key. That's why. Because of course he's a box office player, but in a chase.
Well, last time it was Parthiv Patel who had the innings together.
Yeah, he did, but it was an innings that lasted only till
70
overs,
which he will do every time.
Yeah.
Which he's very consistent with.
I think the key is, do you want Virat Kohli to open the batting, or Moeen Ali has got great numbers opening the batting. That's why I thought Virat bats 3, Moeen Ali opens the batting, is given a license.
And then you go 3-4 AB and 3-4 AB.
I know Viru said the other day that he wants a gap between the two of them.
No, that we were talking about Shubham Dubey. How do you
want a gap between
get
Virat
a young
and
man coming in? So ideally in a long season like this in the IPL, first couple of games we were saying that if you bring him in at a stage where either AB is batting or Virat is batting with him, you can groom him much better because he has the ability, he has the striking ability. But to understand the game, where do you learn? Dressing rooms, if it was learned in the dressing room, then everybody would learn it, or if it was in the books.
Yeah.
You have to be out there in the middle because there are nuances of the game that you have to talk about. At certain stage, you have to tell the other guy, see, look, last over this happened. Now the opposition is going to do this. You got to teach him how to use his brain, not tell him exactly what to do.
Yeah.
And that can only happen if you're with him in the middle.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So which means you would play Virat at 3, Shivam at Dubey at 4, and then
No,
India
not
at 5?
in this
Or
case.
Virat to open
This
and
was-
then 3.
Virat should open.
Stop.
He likes opening. He's a person who has to be in a good mood. He's your leader. I think he has to open.
Would you just, here's a thought, would you just say Virat and Moin to open? You have
Parthiv at 8.
If,
No, I'm
if,
saying
if you
Shivam-
ask me, Washington Sundar should be playing in this team
Yeah.
and he should be opening with Virat Kohli. He adds to bowling, he adds to batting.
That's
But if you
interesting.
play Parthiv, then you have to open with him. That's where you get stuck. And
Yeah.
I know you need to play Parthiv because he's the man who will control the field.
Yeah,
Because
but if
Virat
you-
will be a deep fine leg or,
Yeah.
sorry, not deep fine leg, deep point or long on and long off. This is my feeling. That's probably one of the reasons that Parthiv makes it to this. Because Hetmeyer can keep wickets as well.
Can he? Can Hetmeyer keep wickets?
Of course he can.
He can, I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I've not seen him. We'll check. But I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people. There's a lot of unusual
But
wicket
Rohit-
keepers we've seen.
But Rohit's opening the batting.
Rohit is opening the batting. There's no confusion over there. He
So
said
Zach
he's going
has
to do it
been
for
of
14
some
games.
good.
So that's good. I remember once telling, we were talking about it. I think once you were here and Zach was here, and we touched upon this
Yeah.
topic. This is a favorite topic for us. And Zach just had this smile. I think this was during India-Australia.
Yeah.
And Zach just had this smile. He's like, we'll see. So I don't know. I don't know if it was just him, but that was a decoy or whether he knew at that time, or we're just happy at how it's ended up. Is Rohit batting? Let's look at their batting lineup as well and how that would show up. I don't think there'd be any confusion over there.
I mean, last time they had way too much batting. They had been cutting batting at 8. It reduced the amount of bowling that they had. This much batting is more than enough. I mean, Markanday can bat a bit. McLennan can swing his bat. And this much batting is more than enough. That's a fine batting lineup. I'm very interested to see if Virat Singh can get a second good game.
Yeah.
He had a mixed performance the other day, but the numbers were fantastic. He tore into the spinners.
Yeah.
There is only one spinner in the RCB side to go after.
Yeah.
So I'll be very interested in seeing how he goes, because if at 4 he can have a good IPL, then suddenly the Mumbai Indians team is different.
Yeah, true.
So if he can have a good IPL, it's different. So very keen to see how someone like Virat Kohli, for example. I mean, Virat Kohli knows Yuvraj Singh. He's looked up to Yuvraj Singh, right? As a kid growing up, he's looked up to Yuvraj Singh. How does he attack Yuvraj Singh? Does he say fast bowlers can't go? Let the old man.
Let it rip.
Let the old man have some buzzing by his ears.
He should.
He will. He
Yeah.
will. You know,
And he
Virat.
will. Certainly.
No quarter asked, none
These
given.
two
Correct.
teams know each other so well. I mean, look at them. Ashu and Zach there, Virat and UV there. So
And Rohit, Virat.
Rohit. So
Yeah.
these guys know each other, not just, well on the field, but off the field. So they exactly know what's going through each other's mind.
And they do have, and in fact, you compete a little more with your friends
Yes,
and
of
your
course.
teammates in India than you would with anybody else. So, well, they really no quarter asked, none
So
given.
in your tennis ball cricket, did Willie Watson bowl quicker to his friends?
Willie Watson just only bowled slow balls. That was all. That's all Willie Watson bowled. All right, we've got a joy factor question for you. Joy, of course, not here, but sends the question in, and this one's a doozy as well. In what way was the Test match played against England at the National Stadium, Karachi, in Jan '78 a first in Pakistan?
You know, we've been telling Joy all along, you're setting simple, objective type questions. So Joy has suddenly gone to thesis level questions.
Yeah, he really
He's
has.
setting some really good ones.
Yeah,
Test
he's-
match against England at the National Stadium,
What year?
Karachi,
What year?
1978.
Jan '78. Safely to say before I was born. Maybe you can tell me what happened. You both were around at the time, so.
No, so it can't be
I
neutral
had left.
umpires. It can't be neutral umpires
No,
either.
neutral
right?
umpires only came when India went there.
Yeah,
What
no
could it
neutral
be?
umpires.
Maybe the
89.
covers came on for the first time. No.
Do you want me to go and check if someone's given the answer already?
Somebody
Somebody
would
must have.
It's on Twitter. You know the drill. It's Twitter, hashtag Cricbuzz Live. Send in your answer. And it is a tough one today. But we have another tough one. We play the guessing game, and whoever gets the guess right gets to sit in the MPL Super Couch, which is a matter of great pride for us. So, anybody
What's
guessing?
the score now?
It's Chinnaswamy.
No, but what's the score now? The game started. You just said, didn't you?
No, game's not started.
No, not yet. Not yet.
Oh, Rohit's opening.
Not yet.
Yeah.
No. I'm just looking here.
Remember, this is Chinnaswamy.
I've gone to hashtag Cricbuzz Live to see if someone's given the answers.
Nobody
to
has?
pretend to know it.
No, nobody has. We're just
Nobody
trying to
has.
prove to you that it's a live show. But guesses? Chinnaswamy, high scoring.
Yeah.
Mumbai batting first. What's your guess?
190.
190.
So why you always last?
I'll go now second if you want.
Okay.
202. 202.
तो बीच में क्या फायदा ही नहीं है.
No, you can, because if whoever's closer.
Yeah, नहीं 180.
देखो बीच में बोल के
180, 190, you said 190, right? So 190 and
Tota today says it's Thursday.
So 190, then I'll go round 200. So we'll do round figures. So 180, 190, 200. That's what it is. I'm going to win this one. 100%. 100%.
No.
All right, that's all we have time for. Thank you so much for watching. MPL presents Cricbuzz Live. We're going to see you at the end of the 10th over with Cricbuzz Combox.